Good morning. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna get my technology set up here. Give me a second. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Celeste. Hope you guys are doing well. And we're waiting for a couple people to join, so I'll just finish getting set up with technology here. I won't have music playing in the background, but you can load up my Spotify list. It's in the event information. That way you have some music in the background. Good morning, Jordan. Hi, Allison. Yes, it is a perfect day for yoga. I'm so glad you agree. So if you're joining, hopefully you've got a mat. You can see mine set up here. I've also got a yoga block and some water. Definitely keep some water with you. Since this is intermediate yoga, it's designed to be a little bit more challenging. We want to increase some heat in that body, warm everything up, and hopefully you'll sweat a little bit more. Give me just one more minute, bear with me guys, just trying to set up my technology on the side. So please join me here on your mat. You can start out in easy pose. That's just sitting crisscross with your legs, and start to just chill out a little bit, relax the mind, and we'll get started momentarily. Awesome, all right. Okay, so we're gonna start out here. This is my yoga block. I hope you brought one. I'll be using mine a couple times throughout the day. If you don't have one, no worries. You can definitely still do the class. I'm gonna move it aside for now. Give me one. Okay, so back to easy pose. Crisscross the legs here. Remember, I'm outside, so it is Murphy's Law that someone will come along and probably mow their yard, or sirens in the background, helicopter overhead. But we're just gonna go with it because I love the outdoor scene. So close your eyes here. I've got mine closed. You can't fall off the mat when you're sitting here. Hopefully you're feeling rested, had a great night's sleep. And just begin to soften the mind and the thoughts. Breathing deeply. The word yoga actually means to unite or to yoke. The thought being by the founders of yoga that you would unite yourself to the one divine God and eventually achieve self-realization. For me, this is an important weekend, just following after Good Friday yesterday, and today is Holy Saturday, and I'm waiting anxiously for the good news of tomorrow and the Lord's resurrection. So for me, I'll be uniting my thoughts on that. But for you, you need to find what it is that's important to you to unite. So maybe that's your intention today. What are you focusing your thoughts on? And if you feel your mind wandering through class, just try to bring your mind back to that focal point. And so as you're breathing, we'll go through some breathing exercises together. Remember, you want the bulk of the breathing coming from the belly. So as you breathe, the bottom belly expands, then the rib cage expands, and then the chest at the top. And as you exhale, you push the air out through the belly, then the ribs, and then the lungs. Focusing on the Ujjayi sound, sounding like this. It's designed to be an aid to help in your focal point. So if your mind wanders, you can focus on the sound of your breath. between each movement, and that helps with your focus. So we're going to breathe together in for 6, and then we're going to hold it at the top of our breath for 3 counts, and then exhaling for 6, and then holding at the bottom of the breath for 3. We'll repeat that a couple times together. So breathe everything out, inhaling for 6, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Do a couple more rounds on your own. Wonderful. Open your eyes. Stretch those arms overhead. Good. And gently come to kneeling and eventually to standing. We'll start out standing on the top of our mats to get some of that energy going. So reach both arms over your head in extended Tadasana, and then drop one arm by your side and begin to run that arm down towards the knee as you stretch with the other side of the body. Then looking up at that beautiful sky, if you can see it. Stretching the side body. Then inhaling back to center, arm extends overhead, other arm drops by your side as you run the arm down towards the knee, extending the other side of the body, rotating the neck gently up towards the sky. Inhaling back to center, both arms overhead, extending up on your toes, maybe hearing those ankles pop. Ooh, a little hard to balance this early. Squeezing those heels together to help with balance, also engaging the glutes. And if you feel like your shoulders have crept up, just push them back down, gently down your back. Try to relax. Good. Heels to the ground, arms behind your back. And I've got them on the small of my back there. And gently extending, opening the chest, extending the back for a gentle chest open. Be careful that you're not pushing too much in the hips with your hands. They're really here to support you. Good. Inhale back to center. Arms come up overhead on the inhale. Exhaling down into chair. So remember, in chair, if I peek down at my toes, I can still see my toes out beyond my knees. If you can't see them, if you can't see your toes, sit back a little bit more into your heels. It is like you're sitting into an imaginary chair back there. I even raise my toes slightly. That way I know that the weight is back in the heels. Exhale, sit a little lower. Inhale, lift just a tad bit, and then roll down all the way, hands to the ground if you can, forward fold. Keeping the legs bent, belly's resting on the tummy. That didn't make sense. How about belly's resting on the thighs? Crown of the head towards the ground. Just begin to let the spine decompress here. Let gravity do its work by pulling and lengthening on the spine. That's why we really want to go with bent legs here, so that you can straighten out the back as best as you can. If you're all hunched over like this, trying to fold, you won't get that lengthening that you really want. So focus on lengthening here. Flexibility will come later. One more exhale as you try to melt a little bit lower to the ground. On your inhale, stepping back with one leg, knee to the ground, into a lunge. And here I've got about a 45-degree angle on that back leg. So you may be super flexible and you can lean forward, but on this one, I challenge you just to sit up. We really want to focus on the front of this leg. This can be pretty intense on your back knee as well. I've got a double cushion mat, but if you don't have a double cushion, then I know it hurts quite a bit. Let's do arms overhead while I talk here. You can always put a towel for an extra cushion under that back knee. And we won't be here long. Taking a nice lift up if you can. Exhale, leaning back, other leg. Just switching out those legs. Arms come up to the sky. 45-degree angle back leg, stretch. One more inhale, and arms come to the mat, both knees on the floor, kneeling, and take your first shoulder back stretch by wrapping your hands behind your back, almost like you're crossing them in front of you, but behind your back. So here's a visual. As you sit here resting, just check that your abs are still engaged, holding up your spine. Hands come to the ground for wrist stretch. I'm going to start by rotating my hands out, pinkies on the inside, palms on the floor. You can lean up over them a little bit more or sit back on your heels, whatever feels good. Hopefully you're feeling a stretch in the front of the forearm as well. And then flipping the hands over, top of the hands on the mat, thumbs towards each other. It's totally okay to bend your arms here. Good. Roll those wrists out, clasp them in a fist, maybe roll them around a little bit, get some mobility in there. And now sit back on your heels. So if you can see that, my toes are tucked up underneath me and I'm actually sitting on my heels, putting some weight. It's a really good foot stretch. I love to do this almost every class. And reach those hands behind your back. You can stretch them like this or you can clasp them. You just have to roll the shoulders to be able to do that. Again, checking in with your abdominals to make sure they're holding up your spine. You don't want to be collapsed in it like that. So hold it in. Shoulder blades are squeezing if you've got your hands clasped. So nice. Maybe a shoulder roll here. Good. On all fours, on the mat, we'll do our cat-cow series, but before we do that, quick note to remind you that you've got a couple positions of your shoulders here, so this is kind of a collapsed position where my shoulder blades are touching in the back. It's what we do in cow. And then you've got the extended position out in cat. And you'll use several different variations in yoga, but just make sure you understand the feel of the difference. And I'm inhaling now into cat. So cow. Belly drops to the ground. Got a slight arch in my back. Now the exhale, I'm pushing and rounding the back, pushing into cat. Good. Inhaling down into cow, scooping. Exhaling back into cat. Inhaling, scooping into cow. One more time, exhaling, pushing back into cat. Very nice. And from here, you can drop to neutral tabletop and begin to shift the weight over to one side of your body. And then open up so that the same arm and same leg comes off the floor. Arm is overhead. Leg can be lifted. And then now check in with that base shoulder. This is where you can collapse if you're not careful. We want to extend it just like we practiced in that cat pose. So we're in a modified side plank. Feel that stretch from your extended arm to your extended toe. You can stay here, or you can also reach back and grab that leg. So now you've got a couple things going on. You're extending through the base shoulder, abs are engaged, but then you're stretching that top shoulder by using your foot. Love to multitask in yoga. One pose, multiple stretches. Nice. Go ahead and release there. As you swoop that arm around and begin to sit on that base knee, I'm going to come back into camera angle and just sit down on that base knee, extending the other leg for a nice inner leg stretch. Forehead comes to the ground. Nice. Hands back on the ground to push yourself back up. And we're coming back into tabletop for the other side. Same arm, same leg lifts. Chest opens to the side. Check in with your shoulder. Make sure it's fully extended. Another tip too, if you check my base knee, you can see that I've opened it up to the back of the mat or the side of the mat. That helps with balance. If it's fully parallel to the mat right here, it's super hard to balance. So I apologize for not mentioning that sooner. And reach around if you'd like, grab that leg, stretching the top shoulder. Releasing and swooping the hands down to you're seated on your leg and rest forward. Nice. Coming back into tabletop, lifted position. And one more thing as we're here on our hands and knees, we're going to lift the abs so that our heels, or rather our knees, are pushing off the ground. So all the weight right now is supported in the hands, in the tops of the feet. And I'm rounding out the back as though I were in cat pose, just holding here, feeling what it's like to engage those abs. One more inhale, exhale, good. Push back into child's pose. You're pushing your heels, your sits bones back towards your heels, maybe they're touching, forehead resting on the mat. And then slide out to your belly, but keeping your nose near the mat so you're super close to the ground like a snake. Wonderful. And now we're on our belly. Hands come back by our hips. And on your inhale, you're going to inhale into locust, which means we engage our glutes, squeeze the shoulder blades back together, and lift the upper and lower body off of the ground. Only thing touching the ground is the belly, and maybe the tops of the thighs. Total body engagement here, squeezing the shoulder blades together, down and back, squeezing the legs together. On your inhale, the belly rises a bit. On your exhale, the body may fall. One more inhale, exhale down to the mat. Good. Bring those arms, your body resting on your forearms. So I'm kind of lifting my back. I have a little bit of an arch in my back here. And we're going to push up into forearm plank. So make sure your hands are parallel here. Turn your curl your toes under. Begin to lift your hips so you can keep your knees on the ground, or you can lift here. And then just hold that plank. One of the other teachers in our group, Amelie, posted a daily challenge to do one exercise for every letter of your name. So the letter L for Leah is a 5-second forearm plank or a 5-second plank. So here we go. Y'all are helping me knock out part of my daily challenge. So let's lift that back leg. I know this is pretty intense, but remember what your focal point is that you set your intention at the beginning of class. Leg down, other leg, and focus on your breath. Awesome. Release that leg. Come on down to the ground on an exhale. Bring those arms behind, back towards your hips. And maybe shake out the legs a little bit. Releasing the lower back. Good. Oh, and hopefully you've recovered a bit. Let's put those hands by our side body, preparing for up dog and cobra. Shoulder blades are squeezing together, elbows towards the ceiling. And on your inhale, pushing up the chest into cobra. We'll start with low cobra. So my feet are still on the ground. It's kind of like a half locust pose. And if I remove my hands, I'm still balancing here. That's your locust. It's not a very big lift. Squeezing the glutes. Exhale down to the mat. Inhale, we'll do it again, this time pressing up all the way into up dog. And we do that by peeling the body off the floor. Shoulders are pushing away from the ears, so lots of space between the ears and the neck. All my weight is in my hands and my feet. Everything else is lifted off the floor. If this is too intense, please try cobra. Good. Exhaling back into tabletop. Nice job there. And then curling those toes under, pushing back into our first down dog. Pedal out those feet, beginning to stretch out the calf muscles in the back of the leg. And then take one more good push. Think about pushing your chest towards your thighs here. And you want to eventually go for a straight angle from your hands all the way to your hips. So you want your hips lifting up to the sky like a string is pulling them to the sky. Okay, roll down back into tabletop. Here we'll warm up with a couple of push-ups. So on our push-ups, remember we're squeezing those elbows by the side body. So I'm going to take my weight over the hands, then bend the shoulder or bend the elbows to about a 90-degree angle. So let's do 2 more of those here, going towards 90 degrees. You should feel the elbows touch the ribs. Good, and then come all the way down to the mat. We'll get set up again to push into up dog or cobra. So exhaling everything out. Inhale, engage the glutes, lift. Up dog or cobra. Exhale, back into down dog. Passing through table if you'd like, or going right through down dog. Good. While you're here, 3-legged down dog, which simply means lifting that back leg. My toes are pointed down to the floor. Still pushing with those shoulders to push the weight back into the heels. That's how you'll get the straight extension in the shoulders. Leg comes down, other leg lifts, 3-legged dog. The leg doesn't have to lift very high here. You're trying to keep straight hips towards the front of your mat. We'll open up the hips in another pose later. Good. Foot comes down to the ground. Roll your hands out over into plank. So here's our full plank position. Glutes are engaged as always, holding in the abs. Shoulders are stacked over the wrists. If you can squeeze the mat with your fingers, you probably can't see it here, but I'm kind of moving my fingers. That way you know your forearms are engaged. And we're going to do a half push-up here. You can drop knees to tabletop or squeeze down into chaturanga. Half push-up, hold it for a breath, and then drop all the way down to your belly. Awesome job, good. Take a quick breath here. We're going to go through that again. So exhaling, and then inhaling into up dog or all the way up into cobra. Exhaling into down dog, passing through tabletop if needed. Good. Now we'll do the hip opening down dog splits. So lifting one leg, this time open up the hips so they've turned to the side. It really feels what it's like to lift that leg up towards the ceiling. Using the shoulders to push the weight back into the heel, trying to get that heel closer to the ground. Awesome, leg comes down, try it on the other side. Lifting and then opening. Nice. Leg comes down to the ground, rolling out over into plank. And we'll do a chaturanga here. So inhale. On the exhale, shifting the weight, lowering halfway down, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the elbows with the side body. Inhaling right into up dog or cobra. Exhaling back into down dog. Very nice. Rest here. Then on your inhale, bring one leg forward into low runner's lunge. Other leg steps to meet it. And then just exhale down into a forward fold. I don't know about you, but I'm officially starting to glisten. Sorry, that was a half lift there. To lengthen the spine here, you can half lift with hands on the floor or hands on shins. Exhale one more time into forward fold. And then inhale, rolling the spine vertebra by vertebra up to standing in mountain pose. Rolling back those shoulders. Whew, take a rest here. Maybe you need a little bit of water. Awesome job on those chaturangas, up dogs and down dogs. That's not easy. Building a lot of upper body shoulder strength with those moves. Also really needing our abs to be working at that point. So we're going to go through a full Sun Salutation, Surya Namaskar. I'll walk us through a little bit slow a couple times. We've done about 75% of it now, so what we're going to do is add on the first part. So standing in mountain pose, weight evenly distributed. Shoulders are down and back, very relaxed. Good. Inhaling, bring those arms overhead. And on the exhale, sit back down into a chair, just as we did at the beginning of class. Peek down, check that you can see your toes. Nice. Inhale, take a slight lift up. Exhaling, down into forward fold. Inhaling, half lift, straighten the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stepping back into lunge. Just remember what leg you are. Other leg goes to meet it as you finish the exhale, or the inhale rather. And on the exhale, chaturanga, half push-up. Good, hold. Inhale, shooting into up dog or cobra. Exhaling, pushing back into downward dog. Good. Inhaling, same foot comes forward that you stepped back with. Exhale, other leg steps to meet it. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Good. Inhale, rolling up into Tadasana. Exhale, all the way. Good job. Let's do that again, other leg. And by other leg, I mean you're stepping back with the other leg this time. Arms swoop overhead, inhale. Exhale, sit into chair. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're going a little faster. Inhale, lift. Straighten the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stepping back into lunge. Exhale, into plank. Lift, or inhale, holding it here. Exhale, chaturanga. Hold it at the bottom. Inhale, up dog cobra. Exhale, pushing into downward dog. Good. Inhale, same leg takes you back forward. Exhale, other leg meets it, down and forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, decompress the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up to the top. Exhale, forward fold, or Tadasana. Wonderful job. You guys look great doing that. We're gonna do that one more time each side, and I'll try to talk a little bit less just with the inhale and the exhale. You got this, let's do it. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, sitting into chair. This time, twisting into chair. So make sure that your elbow is hooked on the shoulder. Elbow's hooked on the knee. Pressing the chest open. Weight is evenly distributed on both sides. You can always just do a regular chair here too if you don't like this twist. Inhale, slight lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stepping back to plank, both legs. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, stepping forward. Exhale, other leg meets it, forward fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, rest. One more time, other side. Arms up overhead. Inhale. Exhale into chair. Take it into a twist if you'd like. Other side. Hold it here for a breath. Inhaling. Exhaling. Good. Inhale, slight lift. Still sitting in that chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift. Extend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stepping back into plank, both legs. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, almost done, leg steps forward. Exhale, other leg meets it. Inhale, lift and decompress. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, rest. You made it. Good job. Hopefully your heart rate's up a little bit. Now, hopefully you really are sweating a little bit more. Get some water if you'd like. If you've got any questions about Sun Salutation, it's about 12 or 14 or so different poses in there. So if you've got a question about any one of them, let me know. I can't answer them live, but I'm happy to get back to you after the recording. Okay, so moving into a different sequence now. We're going to start by lifting one leg, and then I'll show you from the front here. We're going to take that leg and open up the hip and sit back into one-legged chair. So now you know why we were warming up with those chairs. So lifting, sitting into one-legged chair. Woo. Good. Just let the weight of the body pull that hip open. Nice. Sit back a little lower. We always do both legs. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. And then raising up again, lifting that leg. This time straightening the leg. As you swoop the leg up, the hands come down to the ground into standing splits. So in standing splits, you're really just standing almost on top of that toe. I'm looking right at my toenails. And the head tries to drop to the mat. Use the arms for balance. And lift that leg up to the ceiling as high as you can. Good. And then bringing that lifted leg down to meet ankle to ankle in like a curtsy. So I'm kind of curtsying here. And then, since you're down so far to the ground, go ahead and drop into a lunge. So we kind of curtsy to help us get closer to the ground so that we can step back. So now I'm in lunge here. My back heel is lifted because it's just safer to land with this lifted heel. Whew. Breathe, drop down. Then on your inhale, drop that back heel so you're now in warrior one. Good. So when you drop that heel, your hips are going to want to open. Squeeze your inner thighs together and pull your hips back to the front of the mat. That's where the work is in this pose. Pulling that hip back forward. Good. Check in on your front knee. Make sure it's in line with your big middle, or your middle toe rather. Good. Inhaling and then exhaling as you open into warrior two. So you may see me fidget a little bit with this front feet. What I'm doing is lining up the heel with the middle of the foot. So now you want a super straight and open alignment here in those hips in warrior two. And your view is technically looking over the top finger here. Nice. Now dropping that front arm as your back arm lifts over your head, and now you're in extended side angle. Using that base arm to open up the chest a little bit more towards the sky. Try to get a little bit more rotation. Good, open up into warrior two. And here's kind of a challenging pose for me, but you're gonna shift that weight forward. I'm gonna grab my block, and you're gonna shift into half moon. So the way we do that is my hips are open to the front, my toe is pointing towards the top of the mat, and I'm open here. And I can't really look at the camera because that kind of messes up my balance here, so I'm gonna keep gazing down at my block. If you don't have a block, you can do it without. It's just definitely more challenging. You can also come all the way to the ground, but again, you have to have more flexibility. So this will be what I think your challenging pose for the day. It is for me. So hold that half moon as best you can. Good. On your exhale, bring it down. And just scoop the arms up into Tadasana. Rest. How'd that feel? Hopefully pretty good. We're gonna do it all again on the other side. So we do that by starting with lifting that front leg, crossing the ankle over the knee, and sitting back into chair. So still thinking about sitting backwards, lifting that base toe. Good, sit back. We're working one glute and trying to open the other at the same time. Good. Extending back into standing. Leg lifts, straightens, and swoops up to the sky as the hands come down into standing splits. Lifting that leg as high as you can. Good. Take a curtsy here, so bending ankle to ankle, bending that base leg. And since you're down to the ground, go ahead and step back into lunge. Good. Back heel is lifted, so the weight's in the front. Shoulders down, abs are in. Nice. On your next exhale, drop that back heel. So now that you're in warrior one, but pulling that back hip forward towards the front of the mat. And I sense that my breathing is pretty shallow right now. So if yours is shallow too, big exhale, look for that Ujjayi sound. Good. Inhale, and on your next exhale, open into warrior two. Checking the placement of the knee over the toe. On your inhale, shifting weight forward, front arm on front knee, back arm lifting overhead, extended side angle. This is where your block can come in handy too if you want to reach towards the ground. Inhaling into warrior two, and then using that back leg to press the weight forward into half moon. So my hips are open to the side. One arm extended up. Different positions on the blocks here if you have one. Or without a block, you're balancing. You could balance, this is like super ab engagement, or if you can reach the ground, you're reaching it there. Good. One more inhale. One more exhale, sweeping arm and leg down, up to Tadasana. Wonderful job. Let me just check in on our time, see how we're doing. Awesome, we got time to flow it. That's what I like to hear. So we're gonna do that same sequence. We're gonna try to move a little bit faster this time, get the heat still working in the body. Okay, so hopefully you remember what leg we started with. So we're gonna go back to that. All right, so getting your nice rested Tadasana pose. Good. Arms lift overhead as one leg comes up, crosses, exhaling in to one-legged chair. Nice. Hold it here, or join me to inhale and bend over and touch the floor and straightening the leg into forward fold. Good, one-legged forward fold. Stay here, or join me in inhaling and bending the legs. Now I'm in a very intense low one-legged forward fold chair. Good. Inhaling all the way back up, straightening the leg, exhaling, tipping forward, hands to the ground for splits. Holding it here for an inhale, and an exhale, bringing down to a curtsy, ankle to ankle. We'll do 3. So exhaling as we extend, inhaling as we come down. Curtsy one more time, and extend. Good, working that glute. Final curtsy, and as you're on your final one, send that back leg into lunge, arms overhead on the inhale. Good. Exhale down into warrior. Inhale, arms to come around the back and stretch. And exhale, hold it here. Good. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, take a lift. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, hold it here. Exhale as you're lifting back to warrior 2. Inhaling and moving into half moon. Whoop. Good. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale to rest, other side. Good. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhaling into one-legged chair. Holding it here if you'd like, or inhaling and lifting. Exhaling, hands to the floor, one-legged forward fold. Inhaling as you bend the leg and bringing it down closer to the floor. Super intense, one-legged chair. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, leg sweeps up, hands to the ground, splits. Inhale, hold it. Exhale, come down to a curtsy, ankle to ankle. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curtsy. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curtsy. One more time. Exhale, curtsy. Good. And now send that leg back into lunge. Inhaling, arms overhead. Good. Inhaling, lift. Exhale, down into that warrior. Inhale, arms behind back. Exhale, hold it here. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, hold it here. Exhale, side angle. Hold it for a breath. Exhale, it out. Inhale into warrior 2. Exhale, pressing into half moon. Inhale, holding it here. Exhale, coming down. Arms overhead, Tadasana. Awesome job. How'd that feel? Hopefully good. Challenging exercises in there. We're using a lot of the same poses that we always do, warrior 1, warrior 2, lunge, trying to mix them up in a way that's not the same that you do every class to make it more challenging, adding in that half moon to really throw off your body's balance. So hopefully you like that. Okay, we're not done yet. We've got a couple more things to do. Join me here in a wide leg forward fold, using those hands to help send the hips back, and just rest here for a minute. Gather your breath. And I'm going to bring my feet closer together here, but then turning out my feet so that I can bring my hips down, put them even closer into yogi squat here. I just love this. I feel like it's so grounding. But that said, if you don't have the flexibility in your hips to get here and you're holding it up higher, it's super intense. So you can always try a block. Just kind of practice sitting here, opening up the hips. But I'm going to be down here today. And then hands in prayer position, using the elbows to open up the legs a little bit more. I'm still resting from those sun salutations and that warrior sequence. So, whew. Good. Let's play with crow a little bit. Our arm balance challenge for today. Hands are going to be on the mat. You're going to be using those fingers to grip so that you engage the forearms. I'm rising up on my toes. Your knees are starting to just kind of feel what it's like to get the knees in the tricep region, almost all the way into the armpit. And then if you're ready, you begin to shift your weight over. So right now I haven't lifted my feet yet. I'm just resting here. But you can lift a foot, you can lift both feet, and then you're balancing on your arms. This isn't quite for you. Just practice getting into the pose. That's half the battle. And then lifting one foot and the other. Good. If you're super solid in crow, I want you to start practicing side crow. We won't do it today since we don't have time. It's hard to do on camera. But I want you just to get the feel of sitting and going into the pose. So I've got super twisted hips here, and I'm going to practice touching elbow to hip, elbow to knee. So you need those 4 body parts to touch here so that you can begin to balance. I'll show you what it looks like, but this is side crow. So I want you, for your homework, to start working on the touch points here. And then also, of course, continuing in your crow pose. Let's take that one last time. Nice. And let's just come into a quick child's pose here. Good. Rolling over, or shifting over to tabletop now. We're going to go back to our side planks. We warmed up with them in the morning, but this time we're going to go ahead and do the full side plank. So first, we're going to start in plank. So I've pressed up now, shoulders over hands, glutes engaged, holding in the abs, or bracing the abs rather, and then shift the weight to one arm and one leg, same arm, same leg, opening up the hips. Look how I have a super open shoulder and chest angle here. My shoulder blades are squeezing in my back, in fact. And I'm using, you can almost use your hand to like lift here, that chest and your hips. There you go. For modification, foot can come here. You can even drop one knee down like we did in the beginning. But I really would love for you to try that side plank. Lifted hand comes down to the mat. Let's try the other side, shifting the weight. Lifting up those hips and the side body. Pushing through this shoulder. Good. Hand comes down to the ground. Awesome job. I'm back in plank. Pushing back into down dog. Nice. I want you to lift one leg into 3-leg dog just like we did in the beginning of class. And on your inhale, shift your weight forward into plank, but bringing knee to nose. Good. Exhale, 3-legged dog. Inhale, knee to elbow, same arm to same leg there. So I'm kind of in a planche. Good. Exhale, back into down dog. One more. Knee comes to opposite elbow. So now I'm twisted. Good. Now straighten that leg, send it out underneath your body into wild things. Now I'm opening up. Look how similar this is to side plank. All the weight is supported in that one shoulder and the 2 feet. Good. Hand comes down to the mat, and then rotate the body back into plank. Other side. We'll start back in down dog on the exhale. Good. Lift that leg. On the inhale, shifting weight forward, knee to nose, rounding out the back. Good. Exhale into down dog. Inhale, same knee to same elbow. Good. Exhale it back. Three-legged dog. Last one. Inhale, knee comes to opposite elbow. Good. My body's twisted now. Shoot that leg through. Open up the body into a wild thing. Good. If you don't quite have the shoulder strength to do this, that is okay. You will get there. Keep working on the planks. Keep working on the chaturangas. Good. Hand comes down to the mat. Untwist the body. Roll down on those feet. Take a child's pose here. I'm going to bring my arms behind me just to let the shoulders stretch. Forehead to the mat. Take a few more breaths there. All right. We've got time for about one more exercise I want to introduce to you. So I'm going to have you flip over to a seated position. My knees are up to the ceiling. I've got my hands on the mat. My fingers are pointing away from me here, okay? And we're going to shift our weight to one side. And when we do that, I've got my other hand in front of me, and I'm just going to lift. And I want you to feel what it's like, again, to lift the body and hold the weight on one side. So I've got a super open rotation of the shoulder. If it's closed like this, you won't be able to open up the hips. So focus on that shoulder position, very gentle. We don't need to tear or rotate our cuffs in yoga. But of course, you're working to see how much you can eventually extend into back bends. This is also the position we get into for flip dog. I may have done that in the last class, but this is an easier way to get into it. Let's try the other side. So one arm behind the back, hands are facing away from me, other arm is in the middle of my legs, and I'm just lifting the hips up to the sky. Good. Nice. Come on down here. Beautiful job. Go ahead and roll onto your back here. Bring your knees to your chest. Just kind of massage out that back a little bit. Drop one leg to the ground. You can actually, if you're not able to drop this leg without the back, small of the back lifting, bend the leg here, the base leg. And then do yogi toe lock. That's our hands are in a peace finger to grab the big toe so I can stretch it overhead. And see if you feel more flexible now that you're at the end of class and your body's nice and warm, muscles and ligaments are a little bit more supple. Extending the base leg if you can. Good. Using that arm as leverage to pull your leg. You control the lever. Bringing that leg down, switching to the other side, pulling knee to chest, toe lock to grab the toe, straightening the leg. Bring that leg to the ground. Bend both knees so that your knees are facing up to the ceiling, palms are on the mat, and we'll do a bridge pose. So we do that by, on the inhale, lifting the hips up off the mat, even adjusting the shoulders to roll them underneath you so you can get more lift. Try not to look at the camera, just try to follow me here because I don't want you to crane your neck. Your chin is going to be tucked in, almost touching your chest here. And then I'm lifting with those glutes, Squeezing the inner thighs as well. And to get one more lift, you can clasp your hands underneath you. You just have to really roll those shoulders back. One more inhale. On the exhale, bring it down to the mat. Awesome job. And then lift those feet up to the ceiling. Just rest them here. So you want your feet to be straight over your head. This is actually a great pose to do at night. If you're having trouble sleeping, you can actually get right up against the wall. So get your sits bones right up against the wall, literally. And then let your feet just rest on the wall so that the wall's doing a lot of the work for you. And just lay there 5 minutes or so, and it's very calming. But I don't want to put you to sleep today. So we'll do one last exercise. I'll give you two options here. You can either open your knees so that you're kind of in a wide butterfly. This is again a hip opener. Or alternatively, what I like to do is more knock-kneed. So my knees are touching. I'm going to walk my feet out to the sides of my mat and just rest here. I like this one because we do so much hip opening, but we don't do very much with the internal rotation of the hip. So this just feels so good to me. So just lie here as we enter our final relaxation. Good. And extend those legs all the way into Shavasana. Scan your body and move around whatever you need to move so that you can get to a final complete relaxation. And you've got to stay in Shavasana lying down. I'm going to sit up so that I can talk to you a little bit through this final relaxation. But please continue in Shavasana laying on your back. Feet are slightly apart, probably rolling out to the sides of your mat. Unclench your fist. Open up your hands towards the mat. Moving your sits bones around as necessary so that your hips are in a comfortable position. Shoulder blades are relaxed. Lots of space between your shoulders and your ears. Unclench your jaw. Hopefully your eyes are already closed. Soft eyes, soft jaw. Total relaxation of the body. And begin to notice how the ankles are heavy, falling into the ground. The shins are heavy, falling into the ground. The knees are heavy, falling into the ground. The hips are heavy, falling into the ground. The ribs are heavy, falling into the ground. The shoulders are heavy, falling into the ground. The hands are heavy, falling into the ground. The neck is heavy, falling into the ground. The head is heavy, falling into the ground. The whole body is heavy, falling into the ground. And relax here for just one more moment. I'll let you know when it's time. And begin to bring your awareness back to your body. Wake up the toes, wiggle them slightly, roll out your fingers. And as if you're embracing the morning, reach the hands over the head in one final stretch, stretching from fingertip to toe tip. Good. And as you exhale, bring the knees to the chest and roll over onto your right side, kind of in the fetal position. Resting your head on your right arm as a pillow. And then using your left arm, press your body away from the floor and come to a seated position, and join me in seated here on the mat. Hands come into prayer position, thumbs to the third eye center, representing an open mind. Next, thumbs come to your mouth, representing open communication, and then thumbs to your heart center, representing an open heart. The light and spirit in me loves and salutes the light and spirit in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your Saturday morning with me. You are ready for the day. Have a wonderful Easter weekend. I'm sending you lots of love from here to you and your families. Thank you so much.